Education has had its ups and downs throughout the course of history, and has expressed itself in many forms. Education has been man's constant companion, allowing him to reach greater and greater heights. From the telling of stories of how things like thunder and rain happened, to the modern advent of the internet and sites like Facebook and YouTube. Education today has evolved and can be done at any time and from anywhere. But it wouldn't be in its current state today if it weren't for these important events. In 1964, despite much contention, the Civil Rights Act was passed. At this time, America still harbored rules and enforced laws and customs that catered towards racism, and as progressive as the country was, racial segregation was still evident and prevalent. In addition, women weren't granted the same basic rights and courtesies as men, and were very much limited in their capacity to earn and contribute without a male partner. It was truly an awkward time for the young country. Initialized by President John F. Kennedy, and with the support of Lyndon B. Johnson, who signed the Civil Rights Act of 1964 in 1964, the country would take its first steps towards truly being the land of freedom and equality. Though it would receive several supplements in order to support its initially weak stance, the act would go on to catalyze things such as the demise of segregated schools, workplaces, and public accommodations like water fountains and bathrooms. Though President Johnson's act was met with much protest, to the point where he was told that he would not only lose the South, he would lose the election, which he later won, he continued on his quest for the Equality with Elementary and Secondary Education Act. The ESEA was part of the President's War on Poverty, and had many elements that would give students a better foothold on tomorrow through a fair and adequate education. Through the ESEA, primary and secondary education would receive better funding, and just as important, a national curriculum would be forbidden. It would also establish high standards and accountability for schools. His emphasis on equality through the ESEA would also be evident, as the bill would also do the following things. It would shorten the achievement gap between students by authorizing funds for professional development, along with resources and instructional materials. The bill has to be reauthorized every 5 years, and its latest incarnation is the No Child Left Behind Act of 2001, which was named and proposed by President George W. Bush. As the reauthorization of President Lyndon B. Johnson's Elementary and Secondary Education Act, the No Child Left Behind Act of 2001 places more of an emphasis on standards and results through testing in order to receive federal funding. Though it does not have a national standard, each state must set their own, and it is these standards that schools must meet to ensure their continued support through funding. Testing of basic skills through assessments is done at certain grades in order to ensure that students are meeting expectations and performing at the pace expected. The Adequate Yearly Progress, AYP, determines funding, and students take these tests every year. In addition, 5th grade students must do better than the prior year's batch in order for the school to achieve success in the eyes of the program. Missing the AYP goal can lead to some drastic consequences. Schools missing their AYP for the second consecutive year are labeled as in need of improvement and must devise a 2-year plan on how to improve. Any students attending that school in need of improvement also have the choice to transfer to a better school within the district. A 3rd year of missed AYP leads to the school being required to offer free tutoring along with additional support to struggling students. 4 years of missed AYP places a school in a situation where potentially the entire staff needs to be replaced, along with a new curriculum and longer class times for students. The 5th and 6th year of missed AYP go hand in hand, as failing a 5th time leads to the planning for a school to be restructured from top to bottom, and failing the 6th time leads to the execution of said plan. A restructuring could mean multiple things, from the sale of the school, turning it into a charter school, or having either a private company or the State Office of Education run it entirely. We've come a long way from segregated schools, And now, more than ever, there has been a push for awareness about the importance of education, not only to the development of a child's mind, but to the benefit of future society. When the Civil Rights Act passed back in 1964, it was revolutionary for the steps and measures it was taking to protect those in society who were less privileged. Now it seems like we've got organizations or acts to champion almost any and every potentially mistreated or unrepresented member. Here are just a few. The Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. Signed in 1990 by George H.W. Bush, it's a federal law that makes early intervention and special education mandatory for children with disabilities. In addition to being provided for during their time spent within a school setting, the Act also ensures that individuals with disabilities receive further education to prepare them for employment and independent living. The Education for All movement, which started in 1990, is attempting to tackle the lack of education on a global level and has set themselves up with 6 goals that they must accomplish by 2015. Goal 1. Improve childhood care and education. Goal 2. Provide quality access for all children in difficult situations, particularly girls. Goal 3. Provide programs to ensure proper learning for children and adults alike. Goal 4. Achieve a 50% improvement in adult literacy. Goal 5. Achieve gender equality. Goal 6. Improve the overall quality of education. Finally, there's the United Nations Girls Education Initiative, which is focused strictly on IFA's second goal of creating equality and addressing the notion that genders are not equal. How will this affect me as a future potential teacher? Laws, acts, and standards are set up in order to provide guidelines on how to shape current and future society. While these educational acts are in place and play such an important role in today's educational system, it is very important to be familiar with them and to acknowledge their existence. Not only that, but these policies also hold within them the longevity of the school and with it, the teacher's career. With all the emphasis being placed on results and performances, it's tantamount to success that we know what rules and expectations teachers have placed on them if we want to continue to do our job both efficiently and in compliance with the law. While teachers do function autonomously inside the walls of their own classroom, they are still working with a curriculum, a team of other teachers, the school, and with students who are ever evolving with the days and times. It's important to remember that everything is changing and that even the things we learn and know can be modified and reapplied to suit the 21st century learner. In the end, education is important, and no one ever grows out of being educated into being the educator, for the best educator is the one who is constantly learning. It's not about how we retain information, but rather how we translate, apply, adapt, and then reapply that knowledge that makes us intelligent.